We've all seen those little cameras on street corners, those flock cameras and other brands that are collecting data. That is Big Brother on the road. And the growing backlash against those license plate surveillance readers, well, that is growing even more. By now, most Americans assume they're being watched online or listened to on their phone. But they don't expect is just how aggressively they're being tracked offline. Every time they get behind the wheel, they're being tracked, literally everywhere. But now, a quiet but powerful fight is unfolding across the country over the automated license plate reader systems. And it's not just about traffic enforcement anymore, it's gotten bigger. It's about how much surveillance Americans are willing to tolerate before it crosses a constitutional line. In San Jose, California, that line is now being tested in federal court. The city deployed nearly 500 automated license plate reader cameras, creating one of the largest vehicle tracking networks in the country. These systems don't just capture license plates, they log where you drive, when you drive, what your vehicle looks like, and even unique identifiers like bumper stickers or roof racks. And over time, that data builds a detailed picture of your daily life. And that's not speculation. That's exactly what the lawsuit filed by residents and the Institute for Justice are arguing. This is the kind of mass data collection that amounts to a warrantless search and therefore violates the Fourth Amendment. And here's where things get uncomfortable. According to the complainant, thousands of government employees can access that data. Searches happen constantly, often with little oversight, and that means your driving history isn't just sitting in a local database. It can be shared, queried, and analyzed far beyond the original purpose of catching a stolen car or locating a suspect. Supporters say that the systems help solve crimes, and critics say that they create a digital dragnet. And both can be true, but when the scale reaches hundreds of cameras and millions of data points, the conversation shifts from law enforcement tool to a mass surveillance infrastructure, and Americans are starting to notice. In Pine Plains, a small town in upstate New York, residents discussed the license plate reader cameras were about to be installed without public approval. What followed wasn't a quiet concern. It was outrage. Town officials scrambled for answers. Conflicting explanations emerged. A recorded phone call suggested that the rollout had been deliberately downplayed to avoid backlash. Residents packed meetings demanding transparency, and ultimately, the plan collapsed under public pressure. Now, this wasn't a major city with a high crime rate. It was a town of about 2,200 people, and that tells you something important. The resistance isn't just ideological, it's instinctive. People understand when something doesn't feel right, and this issue is spreading well beyond California and New York. In Washington state, multiple cities have already backed away from these systems after legal and public pressure. In Canada, the government is going even further, and this should surprise you. They're eliminating automated speed cameras entirely. Officials there don't mince words, calling the system a cash grab that failed to improve safety, and this is a remarkable reversal, especially for Canada. For years, automated enforcement was sold as neutral, efficient. It was a solution. No bias, no discretion. It was just data, they said. But that's exactly the problem. Law enforcement requires judgment. Context matters. Algorithms don't understand context. They enforce rules mechanically, often without regard for nuance or fairness. And when those systems are tied to fines and penalties, they create a powerful incentive to prioritize revenue over safety. And we've seen this before. Red light cameras, remember those? Well, they exploded in popularity, then quietly disappeared in many areas after legal challenges and public backlash. The same pattern is now playing out with license plate readers and speed cameras. The difference is scale. Modern ALPR systems, is what they're called, don't just catch a violation. They build a permanent record of movement. And over time, that data can reveal where you work, where you worship, who you associate with, and what's your routine that you define your life. That's not traffic enforcement. That's behavioral mapping. And once that data exists, it doesn't stay local. Agencies share it, databases expand, and access grows. And the lawsuit in San Jose points out that this information can be searched across jurisdictions, sometimes even nationally. And that means a single drive across town could become part of a much larger network of surveillance. Now consider the implications. Could this data be used to track political activity, monitor protests, assist federal enforcement actions unrelated to local policing? The answer is theoretical. There have already been reports of misuse, including surveillance of individuals unrelated to criminal investigations, maybe checking out where your ex is going or your boyfriend or girlfriend. Yeah, that's happening too. And that's where the legal fight becomes critical. Courts are now being asked to decide whether this kind of tracking requires a warrant. The outcome could reshape how the surveillance technology is used nationwide. And make no mistake, the stakes are high. If courts side with the cities, expect rapid expansion, more cameras, more data, more integration between agencies. If courts push back, it could force a fundamental rethink of how these systems operate and whether they should exist at all in their current form. This isn't about being anti-police or pro-privacy. It's about balance. Most Americans support law enforcement. They want safer communities, but they also expect constitutional protections to mean something, especially when technology evolves faster than the law. And right now, that balance is out of sync. Cities are deploying advanced surveillance systems first and asking legal questions later. And residents are finding out after the fact. Oversight is often minimal, and the transparency is inconsistent at best. And that's how this should not work. If a town is going to install a network capable of tracking every vehicle that passes through it, the public deserves a clear explanation, a vote, a strict amount of safeguards, and anything less erodes trust. And once that trust is gone, even useful tools become suspect. There's also a practical reality that often gets ignored. Technology is not foolproof. Databases can be hacked, systems can be misused, errors can happen, and when they do, the consequences aren't abstract. They affect real people, sometimes in very serious ways. False matches, incorrect data, or improper searches can lead to wrongful stops, investigations, or worse. And that risk grows as these systems scale. So where does this go next? Well, expect more lawsuits, expect more cities to quietly reconsider their programs, and expect lawmakers to start paying closer attention as public awareness grows. And Arizona is already considering putting a photo enforcement ban directly in the hands of voters. You get to decide. That's a sign that this misuse is moving beyond the courtrooms and into the political arena. And you should get to decide. Because at its core, this isn't just about cameras. It's about whether Americans are comfortable living in a country where every movement on the road can be tracked, stored, and analyzed without a warrant. For now, the answer seems to be increasingly clear. They're not. And the backlash on these cameras is just getting started. And if you want to see how bad it can get, just take a look at Europe. See what they're doing. They're already installing cameras everywhere, and they're being used to ticket and track their citizens every single day, and it's impacting their lives. They're not happy about it. We don't want that happening here in the USA. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this, and check out our car review channel, Car Smarts. You can support me by buying me a cup of coffee, and if you want even more content, check out the links in the description. I'm Lauren Fix. Thank you so much for watching.